Hello there, YouTube. I am kind of cruising up in the mountains a little bit up here between, would that be Lexington? Probably Lexington and Silver Lake or Toutle, Washington. It's this mountain range that kind of separates the I-5 corridor, which is, you know, pretty much a little bit above the height of the Cowlitz River that runs along there. I would imagine the elevation's probably 40-50 feet. I'm probably, I would guess close to 2,000 feet up through here. I thought there was an elevation sign through here somewhere, but anyway, and continuing with young dumb things you do as a young lad riding motorcycles that years later you look back on and think just how incredibly stupid that was. I was working at Portland Honda, and I want to say this was about 1987, and I was working late. You know, it was in the middle of winter, it was snowy, and had a coworker. His name is Steve, and he worked up in sales. He might have been the sales manager at the time, but he had at the time it was a new 86 XL250R. It was a dual sport. They later became the XR650L, and now all these years later they're a CRF 250L, I believe is the designation of it. Totally different bike, water cooled and all that stuff. Anyway, it's an old air cooled RFVC motor, radial 4-valve combustion is what RFVC stands for. But anyway, we're there late at work. Everybody's gone. It's just him and I, and it's snowing outside. I drove there, of course. Didn't ride. I drove there that day. And I think he had rode his motorcycle in, and I think pretty much the whole day he gave me a ration for not riding my bike in, saying I was a wimp for not riding in the snow, and I don't know, just didn't feel like dealing with it that day. So anyway, he wanted to go up on Skyline Boulevard. There's a wonderful, hold on a second here. Boy, that was not a happy group of people right there, was it? Holy moly, you see the scowls on all of their faces? They must have been walking along having a fight or something. But he wants to go for a ride, and I go, well, Steve, you know, I don't have a motorcycle here, you know. I usually had something at the shop. But he goes, well, we had taken in a 1984 FT500VT, which was a little 500 twin Ascot. And anyway, I'd actually had an 84 VT500FT years ago, and whoa, a little flat track in there. That was cool. When I pulled out, I realized that car was probably moving faster than I thought. It actually wasn't. Hey, she drifted without kicking off the VSS. So he goes, well, take this used 500 Ascot. And I go, all right, what the hell, I'll go. So I don't know where maybe I had clothes there or whatever. And shit, being that age, I probably just threw a leather coat on and went in my blue jeans. So off to the mountains and up to Skyline I think it's actually called Skyline Tavern on Skyline Boulevard. And off we go. And we hadn't been drinking or anything, you know. We go up there and, you know, have a couple of beers and shoot the shit, you know, like an after work cold one, you know. We're not, you know, getting drunk or anything like that. But anyway, we're heading up, and he's got dual sport tires on there, and the farther we got up the hill, oh my God, it is freaking snowing. It's coming down like crazy, you know. You get some, yeah, it is. You get some elevation, and you know, everything has been sticking to the ground, and you know, just huge, slow, massive massive snowflakes coming down. This is Silver Lake with Mount St. Helens in the background there. I hope that camera picks that up. But anyway, what the hell? They tear that lodge down back there? This is the first visitor center. This is Spirit Lake Highway that heads up to the north side of Mount St. Helens, by the way. And this is the first visitor center that you'll come to if you take exit 49 off of I-5 and head due east, which I'm traveling now, east. So we take off, and like I say, we get up and I think we had made it to Skyline Boulevard. We hadn't made it to the peak by no means. Well, him on his dual sport with his dual sport tires, he can tractor right along real good. Well, I'm on these street tires on this, 500 Ascot, and of course he can go a whole lot better than I am, and not a lot of traffic up there at all. It's just a bunch of rich people that live up there. But the cars that had gone through had kind of, rutted the snow, so you had to kind of stay in the fresh snow to get traction, or you know how it is on a street bike, the least little rut in your TKO. So he just basically leaves me. So we get to the crossroad where Germantown comes across Skyline Boulevard, and there's like a flashing yellow or flashing red for us. I think it's a flashing red, flashing yellow for Germantown. So I stop, and I am like, well, if I wasn't behind him, he'd have stopped. And I look around, the snow's coming down so heavy, I would see relatively fresh tracks, it was like clear snow. There's no recent motorcycle tracks coming through here. I'm like, holy shit. And so it's like kind of boggling my mind here a little bit. There again, this is another road that there's no turnoff on. So it's not like he darted down some side road somewhere, And I'm going, what the hell? And then it hits me. I'm like, oh shit. This sumbitch ran off the road in one of these, twisty turns, and something happened to him. So I turn around and I head back, and I'm going along, and I'm like, my mind's just like, how could I have passed him? If he had crashed, I'd have seen a big disturbance in the snow and everything else. There's no way I could have passed him, So I'm going along, and all the shit's going through my head and wondering what's going on, and all of a sudden I realize, well, there's two motorcycle tracks all of a sudden coming back the other way where we had just gone through. And I go, wait a minute, now all of a sudden there's two tracks. So I'm like, shit, I've passed wherever he was last. So I turn around, and now I'm heading back down Skyline towards Germantown, and oh, look at the geese. And I'm going real slow, and I'm watching the tracks. I'm going, I'll follow these tracks. They'll lead to wherever he's at. And I'm going along, and all of a sudden, the tracks are gone. I'm like, what the holy hell is going on here? I didn't even see where he went off. So once again, I turn around, and I go back up, and I see the dual tracks again. Turn around, and I'm now going real slow. Something happened between here and here, And I'm going along, and all of a sudden I see something red glowing way down in a ditch. And I'm like, oh my God, he's crashed. And I'm like, I don't see him. It's just so much snow. All I see is this red, half-covered tail light, I'm like, oh dear God, you know how the shit goes through your head. And so I stop and go sliding down the ditch, and as I get down to the ditch, I hear laughing, this hysterical laughing, and I'm like, Steve, where are you? And he goes, get this effing bike off of me. He had somehow or another just slowly ran off the road into the ditch, tumbled, and he's face down in the ditch with this XL250 on top of him, upside down. Shit, I can't get the bike off of him, it's in a ditch. And so anyway, he gets me to laughing, because he's just, I'm like, are you hurt? And he goes, no, get this effing bike off of me, So finally I get that damn little XL drug off of him, and he gets up and he's like covered in mud. The ditch was, you know, the water was warmer, and, you know, he's just a total disaster. So the two of us, you know, we dragged the bike up and get the thing going again. We ended up, as far as I remember, I think we continued on to Skyline Tavern, and, you know, had a couple of cold ones and went home. But I just remember him just being covered head to toe in mud. Just a total disaster. He's still in the motorcycle business. He's one of our sales reps, and comes in and visits us, I think once a month maybe. I'm not sure what the frequency is, but yeah, it's great to see him and tell old war stories. I got a whole lengthy story I can tell you just about him. What a character, man! Oh man, some of the crazy shit we did. But that was just one of the ones that popped in my mind. Crazy old bastard. So anyway, I'm gonna throw some petrol at the old beast here, because the fuel light's been on for God knows how long, and I'm gonna continue onward home. Maybe I'll come up with another story to tell you. So thanks for hanging around. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.